I guess my whole point is transparency is not just a nice value, it's a security requirement for sound systems. End of the story. So to explicit this a bit more, think of a situation like the one we have right now on centralized social networks, where you have an algorithm deciding which post gets visibility or not. And this algorithm is made without any transparency, is not audited, and only the Twitter developers essentially know how that thing is working. There is no public debate on this algorithm, but it governs all public debate. So it's just an instance of technology playing a critical role in society, if we're honest. And we have zero control, oversight, transparency, acknowledgement, whatever over it. It's just a black box. And I think this is why this is so fundamental that DeFi operates on this. Transparency is part of the package, and there is no way around it, except in zero knowledge-based systems and other specific use cases. But it's by far the default. And so, to tie it back to risk assessment, the very first step when you're doing a risk assessment is to get a sense of the scope, as we call it. So essentially, what are all the exposures? Well, I fail already if I try to do this on a sex, because I have no idea where the funds are. And, this is also one of the lessons from the FTX blowout, which is how many services were actually exposed to FTX and customers had no idea about it. They were never told that, this exchange, if you use this exchange, it means you essentially use the wrapped FTX. They didn't know that. So they didn't know that, and they couldn't know that unless they were, having insider information. So keep that in mind for when you hear people talking about transparency and finance. Anyone having the slightest stance against transparency is essentially saying, leave me the right to embezzle, potentially.